Hi Pisces, welcome to your August 2018 tarot reading. We have a Celtic cross spread in front of us. It's normally a 10 card spread, but you got an extra card in the position of the main situation, an extra card in the past position, and in the position of the environment. Alright, and then we have an oracle card as usual, which I'll read at the end. So let's go through the cards one by one. In the main situation, we have the Nine of Cups and the Ace of Cups. So it's a pretty good combination of cards to have. The Nine of Cups is often referred to as the Wish card, and the Ace of Cups is actually referred to as just, could be the start of a new love relationship. Sometimes I do see it as an actual marker of fertility and possible pregnancy as well. You could probably see the symbolism that would make me think that, looking at the delivery of that into the cup there and it overflowing. So that's another potential way that could play out. So there is some other energy in the reading that doesn't seem as positive, so I'll touch on what else this could mean once we get to those cards. But yeah, this could be saying that you're in a very open, receptive place. I mean, you just had a new moon um, partial solar eclipse that was in your fifth house on around July 12th or 13th, so that could have brought some new love your way. That's certainly a possibility. Or maybe some new creative project you were looking to start. And we could point out that the 9 and then this additional cup would bring you to 10 of cups as well, so you could really be experiencing some form of emotional fulfillment. In the challenge position, we have the 8 of Pentacles. So there's a few things this could mean. It could mean that maybe your love life is going great, but work is getting in the way of that right now. Or because you're so focused on love, you're having difficulty focusing on work. That's another possibility. This is also a card of Virgo, so it could be saying that you have to wait until the time of Virgo, which would be towards the end of August and then September, before you actually start to see that 9 and 10 of that 9 of Cups and Ace of Cups energy come into play. In the foundation position, we have the 7 of Pentacles. So this could just be saying that you've been putting in a lot of work on something and you're wondering if it's actually worthwhile. Sometimes I view this as a comparison card too, meaning that maybe he's planted that, one pentacle there and he's looking at someone else saying, well, I feel like I've put in just as much work as them. Why do they have 6 pentacles and I only have 1? So usually you should refrain from doing that. But it could just be saying that so far you've put in 7 pentacles worth of work on your own and you're wondering if it's been worthwhile or not. But then you have the 8 of Pentacles there as the challenge, saying that the challenge to you getting to that 9 of Cups and Ace of Cups energy is that you're going to have to put a little bit more work in. But if you're feeling like that, that could be a challenge for you to focus and dedicate yourself to putting in more work. But if that's the case, it looks like it would pay off. All right, in the past position, we have the 6 of Swords and the Ace of Wands. So this could be saying that you actually moved away from a new start, or this could be saying that you left behind a relationship that was maybe just more sexual in nature, more casual. This could just be saying that there was a new start on deck, but you decided to move away from it, or maybe someone did that to you. Either way is possible. But looking at these cards together, I can't help but notice the similarities and the appearance of the outfit of the guy in the 7 of Pentacles and the 6 of Swords. So maybe that's just saying that, you put in a lot of work, you were feeling like it wasn't worthwhile, so you decided to move away from it rather than continue to build on it. And it's saying that that was the issue, because had you just put in a little bit more work, get into the 8 of Pentacles point, you would have felt that 9 of Cups energy at that point. It's a possibility. In the present position, we have the 5 of Pentacles. So this is often referred to as the feeling left out in the cold card. I mean, the artwork there kind of makes that self-explanatory. But this actually is my card that shows me Saturn transiting to Venus. So some of you might have your Saturn and your Venus in Capricorn, rather, and maybe you have that transit happening right now, and that's why you're feeling this way. But this could point to financial difficulties, relationship difficulties as well. And maybe that's what it was, maybe it was someone who moved away from you. You feel like you put in all this work, they moved away from you, and now you're feeling left out in the cold. Or you're just feeling like you can't dedicate more time and effort into it. And it could mean financial difficulties as well. Um, that's certainly a possibility. In the near future position, we have the Tower in reverse. So people often dread seeing the Tower in their reading, but in reverse, at least, it is a little bit better. We'll look at it in the upright for a second. So what the Tower usually points to is the destruction of something that was unstable to begin with, but we might have thought was more stable than it actually was. So think of it this way, okay, there's this big tower built up. They think that they're safe, they're up at the top of it, thinking everything's fine. A single lightning bolt comes along and completely topples everything, So that could be what it was. Maybe you felt like you put in a lot of work into something, whether it be a relationship or a job, and then it turned out maybe the other person just viewed it as something far more casual, right? And then when you found that out, you were feeling left out in the cold. Maybe they gave you the impression that they were trying to build a relationship with you, and then maybe they kept it very casual and it was just a physical thing, and then they moved away from you. That's a possibility. Or you could have done that to someone else as well. But the thing is, with the Tower in reverse, if we look at it again in the upright, these people are falling head first, right? So that's definitely not a good thing. But even in the reverse, they are still falling, but at least they have a better chance of landing on their feet here. So it could be saying that you avoid a crisis like this. Maybe something was going to crumble, but you put in a little bit more work and you're able to actually save it. That's certainly a possibility. In the position of your influence in the environment, we have the Ace of Pentacles. So if we think of this as far as talking about if this was you, the Seven of Pentacles, and the challenges for you to put in a little bit more work to the Eight of Pentacles, you add this to that Seven of Pentacles, that's where you get. So it could just be saying that you're close to getting what you want, but you're just going to have to put in a little bit more work. It just might be, you feel like that might be a struggle right now. You feel like you don't have it in you to put in more work, but it's saying that if you did do that, combining this with what's in the outcome position, it seems like you would be rewarded for that. So it's up to you. There's actually a lot of energy going on for you guys too. You have I'm recording this on the 23rd of July, and there's actually going to be a full moon lunar eclipse in your 12th house on the 27th of July. So, 12th house is the house you normally rule, and it's going to be a pretty big eclipse. I think they said the longest one in over 100 years. So, that could cause some confusion for you. You might be feeling out of sorts from that. And then as we go a little bit further into the month, in August, there's actually going to be a new moon solar eclipse in Leo on the 11th of August. So that's going to be your 6th house. So maybe this is actual physical illness, I mean, you look at the person on the crutches. So maybe with that, the new moon in the 6th house, you get revitalized at that point. That's a possibility. That's also a house of work too. So maybe if you were struggling financially, you might receive a new offer around that time. That'll help boost your finances. That's what this could be referring to, a new financial offer. And you feel like, all right, now I could actually rebuild my finances from there. So there's a few different ways that could play out, but And then at the end of the month, actually, the end of August, there's going to be a full moon in your sign. So a lot of energy out there that could point to some changes coming for you. In the position of the environment, we have the Emperor and the Knight of Cups. So the Knight of Cups is actually usually my Pisces card, but since this isn't in the environment, it could be saying that there's a fire sign that's going to make an offer to you, an emotional offer to you, that maybe that's what the Nine of Cups and Ace of Cups is referring to. Another way this could go, though, let's say that you were dealing with a fire sign, and that's what the Ace of Wands is talking about, and you moved away from them in the past. And we're talking about the potential to avoid a disaster here. Could be saying that they're waiting for you to come back to them, if there was some kind of split. So that could be the challenge of the environment, is you have to actually approach them and extend that cup to them. If that is the case, though, it should go well, but just keep in mind, the Emperor, which is a major arcana card for Aries, and then the Knight of Cups. That shows, as far as the power dynamic would go, they have the upper hand in this situation. So that's something to keep in mind. But if you combine this with the fact that you have the Nine of Cups with the Ace of Cups in the main situation, yeah, it might take a lot for you to extend that offer to them, but it does seem like it would be received well, most likely. Could just be feeling that you're not feeling that way right now. Mercury retrograde, by the way, it will be retrograde this month, and that's not necessarily a good time to start a new relationship, but if you want to reconnect with someone, then that could actually be a good time to do so. In the hopes or fears position, we had the Ace of Swords. So this could just be saying you're hoping to hear some communication from them. Maybe you're hoping to hear the truth around what's going on. Maybe they just left out of the blue, possibly, if it was them who left you right as things started. Like I said, it could have been maybe something where they might have made it seem like they wanted something more committed, but then you found out that it was really just more of a sexual connection for them rather, and then they moved on, leaving you feel this way, and you feel like you haven't got an explanation from them. But really, it just seems like it could have just been more confusion than anything, and a matter of a little bit more work needed to be put in, and maybe neither of you at the time wanted to put that work in, but saying that while it will be a challenge to do so, if you put in that work, you will be rewarded in a positive way. We have the Two of Wands at the bottom of the deck too, so that's another Aries card. It doesn't mean that you're dealing with an Aries, but like I said, this is an Aries card, and so is this. So looking at that, it could be saying that they're just waiting for you to approach them, and then things can move forward from there, because in the outcome position, we have the Chariot. So the Chariot is actually the major arcana card for Cancer. So for some of you, you could be dealing with a Cancer, certainly. This could again be pointing to that eclipse that happened in Cancer. That was the middle of July, which is 5th house. So maybe that's saying the energy from that, sometimes eclipse energy can last as long as 6 months, but usually when it's in between eclipses like this, could just be saying that 2-week window, which we're just about to wrap up now, because like I said, I'm recording this still in July, but could just be saying at this point you'll feel that way, and this could be a card of victory as well. So it could be about two people getting on the same page, seeming opposites. And I mean, if you think about it, if it is Pisces and Aries, if those are the two energies at play, those can be seen as energies of opposites to an extent. So maybe that's what this is referring to. I also see these as the nodes. So like I said, there will be that eclipse first in your 12th house coming up in a few days, and then in the middle of August in your 6th house, there will be another one. So it could be referring to this eclipse energy, getting things back on track for you. The one thing I did want to mention, though, is that sometimes, just looking at the overall layout here, sometimes this can be referring to overindulgence too, the Nine of Cups. Usually it's seen as largely positive, but I did have to mention at least the possibility that you might be overindulging just because of the fact that we have the Five of Pentacles there and the Tower in reverse, meaning that, you know, you might have come close to the brink of disaster and avoided it. And maybe it's this warning that would help you do so because your Oracle card is in reverse too. So usually that's a sign that something's a bit off. So I did just want to mention that possibility for some of you, but regardless of what it is, if it is that, you know, like I said, if it's overindulgence, you can put in the work, especially with the sun moving into your sixth house. Your seventh house, rather. Yeah, excuse me, the sun is in your sixth house. So with the sun in your sixth house in Leo, that could give you the energy to get your health back on track if it is that you've been overindulging. The eclipse in your 12th house, sometimes the 12th house is the house of addictions. Maybe that eclipse energy there coming up on the 27th is going to, you know, knock you out of that if that's what it's been. So there's definitely supportive energy for that. So if it is something like that, you certainly can turn that around. But it does say that it looks like it's going to require some work from you. And if you think of it this way, no matter what the situation is, if you've already put in Seven Pentacles of work, and now it's showing you as the Ace, as your main influence of the situation, that could just be saying you put in that little bit more work. It's not like you're starting from scratch again. That'll put you at Eight of Pentacles, and then that could lead you to the Nine of Cups energy of feeling happy. So just something to keep in mind there. And like I said, with your Oracle card, it is in reverse, so I'll just show you that real quick, and then we'll take a look at it in the upright. But the message, it's milk and honey. Take a look at the artwork, and then number 51, if that number resonates with any of you. Like we said, it was in reverse, so I'll read the message for the card when it's in reverse. All right, it says, a nameless unease compels you to turn to pleasure and comfort as a means to escape what's really going on. It works in the moment, but only fleetingly before the feelings return and you need to re-up until you're exhausted. Feeling worse than before, you may continue struggling, or you may see the light and choose to surrender to spirit. Now is the time for practicing extreme self-care. If you can, do so before you engage in behaviors you'll regret later. You are so loved, so cared for. Feel love and compassion for yourself. Turn your troubles over to the divine for healing. That's all that counts right now. All right, so maybe that's what this is referring to, these two cards. It could just be talking about self-love, right? You know, do something nice but positive for yourself rather than an addictive, destructive type behavior. You know, maybe that's what this is referring to here, these two cards. But yeah, that points, that possibility as well, though, that I mentioned with overindulgence. So that could be what it's saying. Maybe even going out and partying a bit too much, you know, rather than facing any difficulties, whether it be a relationship you're struggling with or financial difficulties, you know, rather than trying to address the issue head on, you've just been going the more negative route, which can happen. I mean, you've had Mars in your 12th house as well, and that's going to play a role in that eclipse that happens on July 27th. So coming into this month, you know, you still might just be feeling out of sorts. That's a lot of energy going on here at 12th house, and this eclipse hopefully will bring that to an end if it is playing out negatively for you. And then you can move things forward from there. And then, like I said, there will be that solar eclipse in your 6th house, which is health. So maybe if it is that you've been overindulging, that'll help you get your health back on track. But yeah, just something to keep in mind. That was all the messages I had for you guys this month. But you guys did have the most likes and new subscribers from last month's video, so I'm actually going to do a bonus video for you guys. I haven't decided which type yet. I did a love reading for Taurus last month, and that seemed to be pretty popular, so I might do that for you guys too. Or maybe I'll do a mid-month reading or something. I haven't decided yet, but stay tuned for that. You should be seeing that. If I don't post it with the regular readings, probably by the next week I would have it posted. All right, so we'll wrap up there, and I'll see you guys next month.